thanks a lot, man, for taking the time to chat with us. To start off, can you give us an overview of the current tour with Master and Jungle Road? How's everything been going so far?
It's been going great. It really has. I mean, all three bands get along really well. We've known each other before for years, and yeah, we're having a great time. It's a lot of fun. It's hard work because this is the first time I've done a major tour since 2002. Like all the other things I've done have been like one-off shows, festivals, maybe 3 or 4 shows in a row. But this is like, how many? 16 or something? There's a lot. I mean, we also, Benediction, have got a couple of shows. Not golf. We got a couple of shows at fucking typical. We got a couple of shows at the end of the tour which aren't on. I don't think they're on the dates. Which just us. We're off to Slovakia or Slovenia. I cannot remember. I do apologise. And then also one in Italy. Hopefully, we're a bit unsure about that last one because of the strikes in the airports. That's a bit of a problem. So we need to find out if we can get home. So, but yeah. But as for this tour, yeah, it's going so well. We're having a lot of fun together. Up late at night on the tour bus, you know, drinking beers and cracking jokes. Yeah, it's fun. This is old school fun. It's like being back in the 90s, I tell you.
Overwhelming is the stage. Victims to process. Exsanguination, your domains. Under my watchful gaze.
Having toured with Benediction for so long, what's unique about this current tour? Do you feel any different energy or vibe compared to the past tours?
Well, it's hard to say. There are so many comparisons. There are so many things that are the same, but there's so many things that are also different. And is it better? Is it worse? No, it's now. This is just a way of saying it. It's now, and because everything else has changed. Back in the 90s when we were touring, the only way we could contact our girlfriends or wives back home was to write a letter or maybe call from the venue. But now we've got our own phones and we can just text like 20, 30 times a day, and sometimes I do with my girlfriend. You know, hi Heidi, love you, babe. And yeah, so we do all the time. So that's a big difference. Technology's got better. The tour bus is way more comfortable than the ones were back in the 90s. Oh my God, it's so much more comfortable, and it's more like a home for us. Before it was just a bus with beds in it. Now it's an actual home. We've got a TV. We can play music and. You know, things change, things evolve, things move on, and technology evolves and gets better. That helps us.
Never to live out your days. Sensual obsession grew. I'm crawling over corpses for you.
Any funny or unexpected moments during the show so far on tour?
Not during the shows, but it's all of, well, I mean, we always have a good time. Benediction are always like pretty much comedians on stage. We always have joke around and stuff. But on the tour bus, you know, like I say, we're up late having a good laugh with each other and definitely getting the jokes in with one another. And it also when we sort of when we wake up in the morning and we're doing the load in and sound check, and like right now we're sitting in there drinking beers in the sun, which is a thing that we've started to do because it shows just how hard we work. We don't, but yeah, it's, you know, one of those funny little traditions that we're going to take on with us.
Tell me, how do you prepare yourself mentally and physically for a live performance, especially considering the intensity of death metal shows?
With this,
okay,
plenty of beer and a good attitude, a good mindset as well. You can't go on stage in a bad mood, because you're going on stage to give to the people who've come to the show, and you owe it to them to be the great performer, the good performer, put on a good show, and generally not be an asshole. Obviously, if the audience, somebody in the audience is an asshole to us, if they throw something, yeah, we're going to get pissed off. But that hasn't happened. So, you know, if they want to throw underwear at us, you know, but you got to be a woman, right? But don't throw them at me, for God's sake, don't throw them at me. I am joking, right? The only person I want throwing underwear at me is my girlfriend. So, yeah, I was joking. No, it's the attitude as well. Getting on stage like that, you've got to be in a good mood. You've got to be in a good place, because I think that's what death metal is. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Such a deceptive rot, conceiving the grotesque. Nothing is but what is not.
You've played such an important role in shaping the death metal scene over the years. Can you take us a bit back to the early days of Benediction and what motivated you actually to form the band?
Well, I didn't form it. I wasn't one of the original members. They wanted to get out there, play that type of music, and have fun doing it. And that was really what they did. And I came along when Barney was going to join Napalm Death full time, and I auditioned, got the job, and we moved on from there. So yeah, I mean that was the whole. You know, how it came to be that I was in the band. Then years later, I moved to Denmark, and I left Benediction, and I did a couple of other bands. Did Bolt Thrower for 6 years, and then they called me up in 2019 and said, "Dave, do you want to rejoin Benediction?" And here I am today. So, you know, back in, and now since I got back, we've done 2 albums, Scriptures, and now we got the new one out, Ravage of Empires.
Yeah. Speaking of the new album, can you tell us about the writing process? A few words, maybe?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of easy, because the internet, because I'm in Denmark, Gio's in Italy, and the rest of the guys are in England. And because of the internet, they can write the music, and then they'll send it to me, and I'll go, okay, maybe lengthen that part there, maybe cut that part there, maybe repeat that part at the end of the song. And it works with how I write the vocals. They'll do that. They can chop and change the song around very easily, and then we go, yep, it's finished, and then we'll save it in the pile for what to record for the next album. That's what we did with Scriptures. That's what we did with the new one, Ravage. That is our writing process. And we also pass it on to Gio. When we did Scriptures, he didn't have very long to learn all the drum parts. But for Ravage of Empires, he put in so much work. Yeah, he did such a fantastic job, but don't tell him I said that.
There's always a lot of passion in your music. What emotions or messages do you hope fans take away from this new album?
There aren't really any messages for what to do about the album, and it's just generally they're stories about moral dilemmas. They're stories about horror, killers, you know, your sexual kinks, stuff like that. There's no stories for them to take away from it, except for what they want to take away from it. You know, I'd never had an agenda to sort of say, okay, I want to say this and this and this and this. Nah, don't need to do that. We're not a political band. So.
Are there any tracks that you feel particularly proud of, whether musically or lyrically?
Yeah, from track number 1 to track number 11. Yeah, otherwise they wouldn't be on the album. Right. Proud of everyone. In fact, there were 11 because we were going to just do 10. And then we were doing one song, and I found that I'd already used the lyrics for something else, a different project, some time before. So I had to rewrite the lyrics, and then I couldn't find them. So I started on something else, and then I found the lyrics that I was looking for. So I thought, right, I've actually got 11 songs. So I was, okay, we'll record 11 instead. So that's why there's 11 on this album. So, yeah. I am proud of every single one of them. So there's no one I can pinpoint and say I'm more proud of that, because if we weren't proud of them, they wouldn't be on the album.
In the early days of death metal, bands like Benediction were at the forefront of genre's evolution. How do you feel about where the genre stands today?
Well, it is very different. I seem to see a lot of bands, they want to play as fast as they can, and there's a lot of this pig squeal stuff going on. And we were told that if you walk into a bar and they're playing Benediction, you can tell that it's Benediction just by listening to it. And I like that. You know, we do the old school stuff. We're not going to try and play as fast as we can and then do all that. Nah, I'm not going to do that. That stuff. I mean, it's good for what it is, and those people are very talented, but it's not for us. So yeah, we see a lot of that. This sort of thing. I mean, you've got the old school bands. You've got Master and Jungle Rock, who are just over this fence here, and we're still out there doing the old school, which is why we wanted to do this tour with these bands. Like, got to be old school.
How do you decide on the balance between old material and new tracks in a set list, especially with such a deep catalog of music to choose from?
Yeah, that is really difficult. It is really difficult, because there are tracks that people will say, why aren't you playing that one? So, well, we've got to play a bunch from the new album. There's stuff from the previous album we can't really drop. And there are, certain tracks. It is difficult. For the time being, I mean, on this tour we're headlining, so we're playing for about an hour and 15 minutes, so we can fit some extra ones in. And it's but it's hard. It really is hard to try and choose what to play. I mean, tomorrow, for example, we're only playing for an hour. It's at a festival, so we've got to cut some songs from this set. And we just had to do that right. About 20 minutes ago, we were sort of like, okay, it'll have to be that one. And we were arguing, and we were like, no. We've got to do that one. And so it was, it was a pain in the ass, but you got to do shit like that.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So you're a big vinyl collector. What bands or albums are you currently listening to?
Queens of the Stone Age, Black Sabbath. Those are my two favourite bands. Black Sabbath, the ultimate favourite band of mine. Queens of the Stone Age, because they're still around. I like Caius, Brant Bjork, Desert Sessions, a lot of stoner rock. Obviously, I've got the stoner. That's the band stoner and the genre as well. I fucking love listening to all that sort of stuff. The desert rock, it's got to be laid back. It's got to be, not as much distortion on the guitars. I like a band called the Groundhogs. I also listen to a lot of the proto metal, the early stuff before Black Sabbath, Atomic Rooster and things like that. Yep. Nazareth. I listen to a lot of that, because a lot of that, because it's all available on vinyl now, and I can just widen my collection with very little money, because they're all old releases, so it's great. Right.
Any special records in your collection that hold significant meaning to you?
Well, there's one, actually, and this is kind of funny, and I'm a big fan of the band Them Crooked Vultures. It's Joshua Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters, and John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin. Now, the album came out, I think it was about 13, 14 years ago. And when it came out, I bought a download of it on iTunes and completely forgot about the album. And it was sat on my iTunes for 10 years. And then I suddenly remembered about it, and I was like, God damn, I should listen to that. I listened to it, and I was totally blown away about how good it was. And I thought, I've got to buy it on vinyl. Well, they only released a limited amount, so I think I had to pay about $120 or something like that to get the vinyl copy. So that one's pretty special to me. That's special. And I've also got an original copy of the first Queens of the Stone Age album.
That's cool.
And I've just a couple of days ago, I got an alert on my phone that my Caius bootleg vinyl from live from Germany somewhere will be arriving. So it should be arriving today. Luckily, my girlfriend's home. Thanks, Heidi. But yeah, my girlfriend's home, so she'll be able to pick it up. So, phew.
Emotional response, vindictive fiction, all assets utilized in gross acts of attrition.
You've been involved with the podcast An Old Man and the Young Man Howling at the Moon. How did the idea for the podcast come about, and what inspired you to get involved in this project?
Well, we were doing a podcast called Beyond the Massacre. It's a podcast about the band Massacre, and just telling stories and that. Yeah. And it was the guy Pete, and we were chatting on during one of the shows. When we finished recording, we were just still online together talking, because Pete's in Germany, I was in Denmark, and Cam was in Florida. And we were just chatting away, and we were saying, oh yeah, we sound like old men shouting at clouds. Well, there was actually several podcasts called Old Men Shouting at Clouds. So I said, how about Old Men Howling at the Moon? It's a more metal thing. So me and Pete started doing that. And we do occasionally talk about things, how they are in the past, and how, things could be better back then. But we have recently been talking about tour stories, and the latest episode that's coming out 2 weeks' time was actually recorded at the venue yesterday with us and some guys from Benediction and guys from Jungle Rot, and also Paul from Master. So there's also the tour manager was in there. So we got all of us. We got a bunch of stories and that for you. So. Yeah, you've got to go check that out. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, I used to do a podcast. I used to do 2 podcasts myself, Metal Breakfast Radio. There are some episodes of that available online, but we were so obnoxious and we would talk shit. And it's probably good that we take it offline, because, we might end up getting cancelled or some shit. But there's also another one I did called Lambert's Basement, which was a big band jazz podcast. And I love big band jazz, so I wanted to do this podcast. And that's available. You go to radiofreesatan.com and you can get some of the old episodes available to stream. So it was all good fun. And yeah, I'm into all different types of music, so
yeah. And how's the experience of hosting the podcast compared to your work music, for example?
Well, you're on. It's a different way of doing it. You're on a microphone. You're on a different side of it, and you're behind a microphone, but you're not in front of a live crowd. Yeah. You're in front of the microphone, and that's it. But no, it's fun. It's fun. With Metal Breakfast Radio, when I was doing that, we would get hideously drunk every episode, play music, and then just make fun of it. So that was part of the show. And I know the only reason I stopped doing it was because I didn't have time. I was working with Benediction so much. So it was like, all right, I'll get back to it when the band's over. So you got to think, if you want the show to come back, it means the end of Benediction, and that's not going to happen for a very long fucking time.
Looking back at your career, what would you tell your younger self, just starting out in the music world? Any advice or lessons you've learned along the way?
Well, not so much lessons learned, because everyone learns things differently. What I would love to do is, for example, when I was in Milwaukee. No, not Milwaukee. Maryland. Beg your pardon. Maryland Death Fest in 2016, and I was singing with Hail of Bullets. And there was our dressing room, and next to us there was Nuclear Assaults. Next to us there was Hyrax and Exciter. They were sharing a dressing room, and opposite us was Testament. If I could go back in time and tell myself, guess what you're going to be doing? It would have blown my mind, because those are all the bands that I was listening to when I was like a teenager. If I could go back and tell my teenage self, like, you're going to be hanging out backstage with all these bands, I wouldn't have believed it. And I was telling those guys in there, one of my heroes is Tom G. Warrior. He's one of my big influences. I've got his fucking phone number on my phone, like what? So yeah, I mean, I it's those are the things I would love to go back and tell myself, right? And I know my teenage self would be like, "Fuck off!" Like, no way, right? But yeah, there it is.
My love came by torture. Sweet words of your throat. Complicit enchantments. I'm crawling over corpses and I dread.
Stay true to yourself, and the scene will stay true to you. And be good to yourselves too. Yeah, talk to people. If you need to talk to people, you got to talk to someone. All right, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Heidi, jeg elsker dig.